Tonight we're going in depth on a big part of the big beautiful bill that has a new gambling tax attached to it. Whether you go to a casino for fun or you hit it really hard and often, there's a new tax that was just created that people in both parties say is going to hurt some people and needs to be repealed quickly. Whether you go out to Las Vegas or you simply go to your local friendly neighborhood tribal casino, depending on how much you win or even lose, this new tax could get expensive next spring during tax time. If you gamble, you're rolling the dice even more now when you go to the casino because of a provision in the big beautiful bill.
Unfortunately, tucked into Republicans' tax bill was a provision that puts the industry at risk, not just in Nevada, but across the country.
The Nevada congressional delegation, who also represents Las Vegas in both the U.S. House and the U.S. Senate, are sounding the alarm on a new gambling tax that makes gamblers pay even when they technically haven't won anything at all. And that includes gamblers in Oklahoma tribal casinos.
They'd literally be paying taxes on money they don't have. This makes no sense.
But it's not just the members of Congress who are upset about it. Professional gamblers, like poker player Phil Galfond, took to YouTube saying it would kill off competitive and professional wagering, whether it be cards, sports betting, and more.
This is really bad for gamblers. So the Senate amended the big beautiful bill to come after us with taxes. So here's how it works.
For years, when it came to gambling and taxes, it was pretty simple. You could write off all of your gambling losses as long as it did not exceed the amount of your winnings in a single tax year. If you lost $10,000, you could write off $10,000. If you later won $10,000 in the same year, you could write off the $10,000 you also lost, and you would technically pay $0 in taxes because you broke even. Now, with the changes under the big beautiful bill in place, you can now only write off 90% of your losses. Meaning if you bet $10,000, lost it, and then won $10,000 later in the same year, you can only write off $9,000 of your losses. When it comes to your actual wallet, you broke even. But in the eyes of the government, you won $1,000, and that $1,000 should now be taxed. To understand why all of the professional poker players and high rollers are so upset, let's up the ante to a higher dollar figure. In a single year, a gambler can lose $100,000 and also win $100,000. Under the old way, they broke even and the government wouldn't tax that. Under the new way, of the $100,000 they lost, they can now only write off $90,000 of that. If a high roller or a professional player wins $100,000, in their own personal finances they broke even. But in the eyes of the government, they need to pay taxes on the $10,000 difference that the government now sees as profit. Rich or poor, under the new system, the federal government does not see you as breaking even anymore. It sees you as winning extra money that needs to be taxed on your tax form. Recently, the Cherokee Nation hosted the World Series of Poker at the Hard Rock Hotel and Casino. In a statement about the new tax, they say, quote, "We support efforts that protect our guests from being taxed on winnings without taking into consideration the full amount of their gaming losses. The language in the One Big Beautiful Bill Act creates a high likelihood that casino goers will pay taxes on money they didn't earn. We applaud congressional leaders in both chambers for introducing bipartisan legislation to reverse this flawed provision. Tribes in Oklahoma generate billions and employ tens of thousands in the gaming industry, serving as a driving force in tourism and the economy. Our team, along with other tribes and industry partners, is educating policymakers on the negative consequences of this change in hopes that Congress resolves it quickly. As the outrage continues to grow in Washington, people in both parties are now starting to come out as saying this was such a small change, they don't really know where it came from, but they support an immediate repeal. The only argument for keeping it is that it is expected to generate $1 billion in new revenue for the federal government. But opponents say that amount won't hold long because gaming will move offshore and underground if this policy stays in place.
It will disincentivize professional gamblers, like players at the World Series of Poker, from doing what they do best and contributing to our economy. It will move major events that drive our economy offshore and push wagering into illegal markets.
Now let's take a look at current gambling tax policy and why some people may hit a jackpot but still not have to pay into this new heavy tax. If you hit a jackpot or a major prize of some kind, taxes usually kick in on winnings, $1,200 for slot machines and $5,000 for things like poker tournaments. Many people will not only pay a tax on that, but then they will just take the standard deduction. This really kicks in if you itemize your taxes, whether you're a pro or not. But the pros and the casino regulars do itemize. Something to also keep in mind here in Oklahoma, loss deductions are also capped at $17,000 at the state level. An effort to remove the cap passed through the legislature last session, but was vetoed by Governor Stitt. I've reached out to our congressional delegation to get their reaction to this, and none of them have gotten back to me for this story. There is a general understanding from Democrats and Republicans that have been interviewed about this topic that this needs to be repealed, but how fast it needs to, we just don't know. Last week, there was an effort to do a clean repeal, but it died after some senators started adding amendments and pet projects onto the bill to get the gambling deductions back to where they were. Here is Senator Cortez Masto's response once the measure failed.
But I am not done, and I can promise you this. We'll continue to work to try to get S-2230 passed. It is just common sense, and it has bipartisan support here in the Senate. With that, I yield my time.
There is also bipartisan agreement over on the House side that this policy can really mess with people, and they need to get it repealed by the end of the year. So when people start filing their taxes in 2026 for 2025, things will go back to what they were and the impact will never be felt.